Time for the latest gaming news, and today we got a bunch of Xbox and a little PlayStation news as well. First off, Microsoft's big Xbox Series S reveal looks to have been delayed along with Halo, but we do have a date for the next Xbox Series X event though. On top of that, apparently we'll be getting a big new reason to get Xbox Game Pass soon. We've got a quick update on the Xbox Series X release date, and for my PlayStation bros, we got a little info on the PS5 price compared to the Series X. Now, real quick before we get into all of that, if you like these news videos, make sure to click that like button, subscribe for more, and let's get into it. So first off, Halo Infinite might not be the only thing that's getting delayed this month, because now it's looking like the Xbox Series S reveal that was likely going to take place this month in August has now been delayed. Because not just insider, but verified insider Shinobi, when talking about the Halo Infinite delay, also said this. At the same time, expect news about other Xbox stuff that's been going around recently to come a bit later too. And what's this Xbox stuff going around right now? The Xbox Series S, which was just leaked recently via the brand new Xbox controller, where on the box it confirmed the existence of the console and that the name is Xbox Series S. And before Microsoft delayed their biggest game of the year, it was expected that they were going to reveal the brand new console by the end of this month. So when somebody went ahead and then asked them, does that mean that the new schedule for August is delayed? He said, shut up. Now he replied back with stuff that was planned for this month pushed to the next month. And hey, we got hints that support what he's saying, because just yesterday Phil Spencer was interviewed, and this might sound weird to some people, was actually interviewed in Nintendo's Animal Crossing game by Gary Whitta. I hope I said that right. And he revealed when the decision was made to delay Halo.
We made the decision late last week.
Now I know what you're thinking, what's that got to do with a big event revealing the Xbox Series S? The timing of when they decided to delay Halo coincides with when they edited the Xbox 2020 article to let people know to not just expect Xbox news through a dedicated monthly show. So it definitely looks like the Halo delay affected what they were going to show in August, and even Shinobi expanded on that, saying, I know it's vague, but I want to caveat that this doesn't mean there won't be anything Xbox related this month, but there's things that were going to be shared this month that got pushed to September. Because now that they lost their biggest first party launch title, they need to get everything else right, and that includes waiting on Sony to make the first move and the first announcement in terms of release date and price, so that Microsoft can go ahead and execute their plan.
We have a plan,
which is pretty much what Sony did back in 2013.
Xbox One will launch this November in 21 markets around the world at $499 in the US.
PlayStation 4 will be available at $399.
But this doesn't mean we won't get Xbox at an event this month, because we do have a confirmed date where Microsoft is going to share some more information on the Xbox Series X hardware. And it's happening in less than a week too, because it is official. Xbox will talk about the Xbox Series X system architecture at Hot Chips 2020. And despite the name though, it's not a Hot Cheetos convention, they're talking about hardware chips. If it was though, Phil's speech will probably go like this. He always gotta add today, because that's his favorite word. Today, I'm proud to announce that not only do games play better on Xbox Series X, but gamers also eat better on Xbox Series X. I'm proud to announce that Xbox has partnered up with the world's most popular chips manufacturer, Cheetos, to provide gamers with a free bag of Cheetos with every Xbox One X at launch. This holiday season, Xbox will provide gamers with the best value and nutrition in gaming. Anyways, back to the real stuff. It's confirmed Xbox is going to be there to deliver their presentation August 17, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, where they're going to talk Xbox Series X. Now, make sure to temper your expectations for this one, because if you're expecting some real exciting stuff, probably not going to be the case. From what I hear, these Hot Chips presentations are pretty boring. Kind of like that deep dive PlayStation 5 video.
I want to focus in on just one number here, which is how long it takes to load a gigabyte of data from a hard drive.
Boring.
Now on to Xbox's next big announcement regarding Game Pass. So according to Jeff Grubb, another industry insider, he went ahead and said that we should expect to see another big reason to get Game Pass in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Now keep in mind, this was said prior to the announcement of Halo Infinite being delayed. Now that we also know that some of the stuff that they were supposed to show in August has been delayed to September, that new big reason to get Game Pass announcement will likely also take place in September, and we've got supporting information that this is indeed true, because going back to the Animal Crossing interview, Phil Spencer also said this.
We've got some more good announcements, really great, strong announcements to come about things that'll be coming to Game Pass.
So there are some big announcements regarding Game Pass, and Jeff Grubb also elaborated saying that the big reason to get Game Pass is not a specific game. So what could that big reason be? It looks like it's gonna be a partnership with a third-party publisher. You see, back in July, Shinobi also said that there'd be big news related to Game Pass and a publisher, meaning Xbox is partnering up with another publisher so that publisher can release their games on Game Pass as well, likely day one. He also pointed out that some people are going to be excited about it, some people are going to be like, yeah, that's it. Obviously, it's going to depend on how much people care for that publisher's games. Regardless, he said it's a big deal for Microsoft and that game publisher, and as far as who it could be, well, right now, the two biggest guesses going around are EA partnering up with Microsoft to include EA Access in Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate, and the other big one is Sega because of the recent partnerships that we've seen with them and Microsoft when it comes to the Yakuza games. So who's it going to be? We're going to have to wait on that, but that's definitely some exciting news for Game Pass subscribers and people who are considering getting Game Pass. Moving on to an update on the release date of the Xbox Series X and S. So back in May, Xbox announced that Yakuza Like a Dragon would launch day one on the Xbox Series X. We then found out that the game would launch November 13. So it seemed real likely that November 13 was the launch date of the Xbox Series X. It's going to be a Friday, just like when the Xbox One launched. So it's not an unusual day for a console to launch, and now we got another hit as far as the release date, because on the brand new Xbox robot wide controllers that leak the Xbox Series S existence, it says to not sell before November 6th. Now obviously some people got their hands on them before then, but as far as when the store is allowed to sell them, they can't sell them before November 6th. So what's this mean? First off, it confirms that the Xbox Series X will not launch before November 6th, that's for sure, because in case you guys don't know, there's never been a console with multiplayer that's launched with no option to get a second controller at launch. And also, as we've seen with the delay of Halo and information, plans changed, so Yakuza Like a Dragon launching day one on the Xbox Series X, that might have changed as well, and the new date for the Xbox Series X could be November 6th, because they could go ahead and release the controller before the console or the same day as the console. I'd say chances are pretty good that they both release at the same time. And guess what? November 6th, it's another Friday. So once again, not an unusual day to launch a console. So right now, while we have no confirmed date, we've got even more supporting information that the launch of the console is going to be between November 6th and November 13th. I'd say at this point, with the info that we've got, it's unlikely that it goes past that. And let's not forget, Microsoft very likely wants to launch the Xbox before the PlayStation 5 because the PlayStation is the more popular gaming brand around the world. And making the decision to launch that early in November makes it so it's very likely that they're gonna get the head start and the first console out on the market. And then in the last bit of news today, game developer and insider Dusk Golem went ahead and said that people should be ready for the very real possibility that the PS5 is going to end up being the more expensive console between the two, and that the Xbox Series X this time will be the cheaper and more powerful console, kind of like the PS4 was for this generation. And hey, this supports what I've been saying. Phil himself said that he's very confident in the price that they'll be able to get with the Xbox Series X.
I feel good about the price that we're going to be able to get to.
That they've got a winning plan and that they're going to be looking at what the competition is doing.
Continuing to keep our eyes wide open as we go towards launch. Looking at what the competition is doing.
And as you heard, some big Xbox stuff has been delayed to next month. I'm telling you, Microsoft is just waiting on Sony to announce their price for the PlayStation 5 so they could go ahead and then undercut it with the Xbox Series X and undercut it even more with the Xbox Series S. Because let's face it, between the two companies, which one can afford to take a bigger loss with every console sold? Microsoft, they got more money, and which company cannot afford to have the more expensive console? Microsoft, because let's be real everybody, PlayStation is the bigger gaming brand worldwide. More people worldwide love and play PlayStation. So with Microsoft once again going head to head with PlayStation this holiday, they need every advantage they can get, especially with the loss of Halo. We've seen it in the past with Xbox and PlayStation. When one of those two is significantly cheaper than the other, it tends to sell more. The price difference between the Xbox Series X and the PS5 is probably going to be $100, but where Microsoft is likely going to have the even bigger difference is going to be with how they price the Series S, because unlike the PS5 Digital Edition, the difference between the Xbox Series X and S isn't just the lack of a disk drive with the S, but also the fact that the S has cheaper hardware in there because the GPU inside that console is weaker than the one in the Xbox Series X, allowing Microsoft to lower the price even more with that version of the console. So because of that, Microsoft is more than likely going to have the cheapest entry into next-gen gaming. If you want to play next-gen games for the cheapest price, PlayStation exclusives aside of course, the Xbox Series S is going to be the answer to that. But the big question is going to be, is that significant price difference going to be enough to make up for the lack of exclusives?